The grand ballroom of the Lexington Hotel shimmered with opulence. Chandeliers sparkled like constellations above an ocean of tuxedos and designer gowns. Cameras flashed, champagne flowed, and the air buzzed with polished laughter. The event, the annual Green Future Charity Gala, was the social highlight of the season, drawing celebrities, politicians, tech giants, and media elites. But no one noticed the janitor. His name was Marcus Bell, a man in his mid-50s with graying curls tucked under a navy cap. His janitor uniform was freshly laundered but plain, with a name tag that had faded from decades of use. He pushed his cleaning cart through the hallways, quietly emptying trash bins and wiping smudges from mirrors. His eyes, kind but tired, often glanced over the crowd that never glanced back. Marcus had worked at the Lexington Hotel for 23 years. He knew every marble tile, every hidden scuff on the ballroom floor. He knew where the light switch clicked too loudly and which chandelier bulbs needed replacing. This was his domain, even if no one else realized it. He was invisible. Until tonight. Marcus had stepped briefly into the ballroom, trying to check if the catering staff needed anything. He carried a cloth and a bottle of polish, just in case. As he reached for an empty glass left behind on a nearby table, he heard a voice, sharp, amused, and entirely too loud. "Hey, are we letting the janitorial staff attend the gala now?" Laughter erupted. Marcus looked up and saw a group of young tech elites at the bar, their tuxedos crisp, their watches expensive, their arrogance unchecked. One of them, Dylan Hart, founder of a popular eco-app, raised his champagne glass mockingly in Marcus's direction. "Maybe he's here to give a speech about sustainable mopping," Dylan added. More laughter. Phones flicked upward. Someone took a photo. Marcus stood frozen. The hurt crept in slowly, like water soaking into shoes. He opened his mouth to speak, then closed it again. What could he say? He turned quietly and began walking back toward the service hallway. What he didn't realize was that he had been seen by someone else entirely. Leonardo DiCaprio had arrived just minutes earlier. A passionate environmentalist, he had come not for the cameras, but to help raise funds for the Earth Foundation. As he made his way toward the podium, he had witnessed the entire exchange. Leonardo waited until the laughter died down, until champagne flutes had been refilled and conversations resumed. Then, with practiced ease and quiet confidence, he stepped up to the microphone. "I know I'm supposed to talk about ocean acidification tonight," he began, adjusting the mic. "But I'd like to start somewhere else. I'd like to start with a man named Marcus." The room stilled, eyebrows raised. Leonardo continued. "Marcus has been working at the Lexington longer than some of us have been alive. He knows this building better than anyone here. He's the reason the floors don't creak and the lights don't flicker. He doesn't just clean up after us. He prepares the space so we can have nights like this." He scanned the room until he found Marcus, standing just beyond the ballroom doors, stunned. "Marcus is the kind of person this world runs on," Leonardo said. "He may not wear a tuxedo, but he wears dignity. And frankly, he deserves our applause more than any of us tonight." For a moment, silence. Then a slow clap. Then more. And then the ballroom erupted in applause. Real, unforced, echoing applause. Tears welled in Marcus's eyes. For the first time in decades, he wasn't invisible. Later that evening, Leonardo found Marcus by the service exit. "Thank you," Marcus said, his voice hoarse. "But I don't know why you did that." Leonardo smiled. "Because it was the right thing to do. And because I've been in rooms where no one sees you unless you shine bright enough to blind them. You shine, Marcus. They just didn't notice." They sat on a bench behind the hotel, away from the lights and clamor. Marcus shared his dream of starting a community recycling center, an idea he had shelved years ago when funding and belief ran out. "It's silly, I know," he said. Leonardo pulled out a card and scribbled something on the back. "It's not silly. Call this number. Tell them I sent you. We'll make that dream happen." Marcus stared at the card as though it were made of gold. "Why me?" "Because you've already done the hard part," Leonardo said. You kept going. 6 months later, a ribbon-cutting ceremony took place in Marcus's neighborhood. The Bell Community Recycling Hub opened its doors to the public, staffed by volunteers and supported by a generous grant from the DiCaprio Foundation. Marcus stood in front of the building, smiling at the crowd of families and children. News crews asked him for interviews. Local kids asked for photos. For once, he wasn't behind the scenes. He was the story. When asked what inspired the project, he answered simply, "One person saw me when no one else did." And just like that, the man once mocked in a ballroom stood tall on his own stage, finally seen, finally celebrated.